Hello everyone and welcome to the second video blog from the NFFF. I'm Andrew Crook. Originally I tried to do these once a month, but things have just been so busy. The NFFF's busy, we've had Christmas, New Year, we've had the awards, obviously exhibitions, so I think we're going to aim for quarterly now. And I think that's probably a sensible time for him because it just gives chance for things to move on a little bit, so we can give valid updates on key issues that affect your business. But I think they're important. I think it's a good way to introduce you to some of the things that the NFFF's up to. I'll try and introduce you to some of the office members and some of the board as well, so help you put a face to the name kind of thing, and let you know what makes people tick. One of the other great tools that's knocking about at the moment are the Stelios' podcasts. I've done one, Craig Buckley's done one, Fred Capel, we've had Lauren from MSC, Bobby Joyce, and they're a nice informal way to just get a little bit more information about the industry and what makes people tick. So if you've not checked those out, have a look online, sure somebody will point you in the right direction. They're a nice easy listen, you can listen to them while you're doing your prep in the shop, so that's what most people are doing. So just have a look at those. I mentioned the awards there. We've just had the National Fish and Chip Awards on the 24th of January. That took place at the Royal Lancaster Hotel in London. Great event. I have to congratulate Tim and Kelly at Crispy's, who won the independent takeaway. Fantastic operators. And I know Tim and Kelly have entered before and not quite made it. So I think it's just testament that they dusted themselves off and looked at what they did, came back stronger and won the competition. I'll also have to mention Lauren Kellaway, because Lauren, I think it's the second time of entering, but this time last year probably didn't know anyone in the industry. And she's got involved with the industry, she's got involved with the awards, attended events, and she's gone on to win the Dry White Young Fish Fry of the Year. So if you've got any young people in your business that you can encourage to take part, then why not enter? They've nothing to lose. It's just a great way of gaining knowledge, making friends. It'll add an extra dimension to their work life, but it'll also benefit your business as well. I'd also like to mention Trenchers, who won the best restaurant. Now this category, there's some great finalists, and I think it's probably an undervalued category, and I think we need to celebrate the restaurant category more, so well done to Trenchers. I was also honoured, I was given the Outstanding Achievement Award, which I'd spent the last 12 months winding Mark Drummond up that he was old because he'd won it, and then I was honoured to be presented with it this year. And it does mean a lot because it's my peers that vote on it. And hopefully it just shows that the NFFF's going in the right direction, and it may help us get to where we want to be a little bit quicker. It just shows we've got the support of the industry, so I thank everybody very much for that. It's also nice to see Nana Jan's, which are my closest neighbours. They're actually 2 miles away from my shop, and they won the marketing award, and they're a great couple. They're definitely doing new things with the business, and it's good to see new shops entering and doing well. So there's a lesson there, just get involved. There's plenty of categories. Have a look at the Seafish Awards website, speak to people, see what you can get involved with, see what categories you're eligible to enter, and just get involved with it. Now we'll move on to take all the fun out of it, the dreaded commodities. Potatoes prices seem to have stabilised. I think they're probably going to go up later in the year as we get closer to next season's potatoes, so just bear that in mind and keep an eye on your portions. The big worry is fish. Now fish is quite expensive now. It's likely to go up a little bit more in the coming weeks and months, so just learn how to cut if you don't cut, and just box clever and make sure you minimise your waste. I think that's the key to it all. I think we need to change our mindset when it comes to fish. I think we think of fish as a cheap meal, or certainly the customers do, and we need to think of it more of a fillet steak. You know, it's the last hunted commodity. It's a great quality product, and I think it should be celebrated just as a steak's celebrated. So I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult to get your prices up to where they should be, but we just need to try and work that way and just think about it a little bit different. And then once we're thinking that way, we can try and educate our customers to say, look, this is a premium product, and unfortunately it does cost for premium products. I know it's going to be a difficult couple of years, but hopefully we can start getting the prices up a little bit. We'll always be a great value meal, but I do think there's room for us to move a little bit. And I also think it's worth, as I said, portion size. If you can get the portion sizes right, make sure you know your margins and make sure you try and preserve your margins. Again, it can be difficult because you've got other shops in the area that are all fighting for the same business, but just try and see what you can do and just study what your operation, what you can do, what's selling, what's creating a lot of waste. To try and help people do this, David Miller came up with the idea of running a workshop for the NFFF, which is a Better Business Workshop. The first one took place yesterday, which I think went very well. It was a full course. I've just had a look at the feedback and it was fantastic, and it just gives people, makes them think about yields, makes them think about reducing waste and managing their oil and costing things out, and I think that's got to be a positive step. One of the things that we're about to launch, which should be launched this week, is the new website, which is nfff.co.uk. It's a new responsive website, so it's mobile phone friendly. We should have the latest news on there, but we're also putting a members area. This members area will have links to exclusive offers, it'll have the latest legislation and news. We'll give some news out to the wider industry, but quite a lot of it will be preserved just for members, the detail. Because at the end of the day we get the detail by attending meetings, and we can only attend the meetings through members supporting us. So take a look at that, it should be out, and that's nfff.co.uk. One of the things I want to do is make it easier for you to contact us for advice, because it's great seeing the advice online in the forums, but we're actually insured to give advice, so a member can phone us up and we're indemnified, so that you know that advice you're getting is good advice, and if not, then we're in trouble. So there we go. But also on the website, I want to put a summary of the meetings we're attending in the members area, so they can see what we're up to, and hopefully I'll get it to the stage where people can submit ideas that we can bring forward to meetings as well, so it makes it a lot more interactive. And at the end of the day, this is your organisation, we're there representing you, so it's important that we get the latest information from you to take into these meetings. So hopefully that'll be out this week, you'll see it online, we'll be promoting it quite heavily. Just make sure you have a look. It might take a while for us to get the members area login details out, and we'll be populating it with information as we go, so just bear with us on the members area, but hopefully it'll be a very useful tool. Some of the work the NFFF has been doing recently is on calorie reduction. You've probably seen a lot of it online. There's obviously been a lot of stories about it. We've been working on our own with Public Health England, but also with the British Takeaway campaign, and I think the work's starting to pay off. Public Health are now focusing on bigger businesses until 2024, so they're going to focus on the chains, the pub chains, which should help us reduce our portion size as well, because if all these big boys are advertising lighter portions, it does get in the nation's psyche. It becomes part of the menu options of people, it becomes what they do. Just look at the smoking ban and how quickly people started smoking outside. It's the same thing, people do modify their behaviour, so it should help us. But we've got till 2024, it's not going away. But I think what we've done is convince that Public Health that we are an industry that can help educate our members and help to work towards an end goal without having legislation, because nobody wanted the 20% reduction being mandatory. But in 2024, that might be what we get if we don't get on top of it. So there's a lot of help out there. We're saying offer lighter meals, so offer some smaller portions on your menu, offer water with meals, especially children's meals. There's lots of advice. If you go to perfectportion.co.uk, which is one of the NFFF websites, there's loads of information on there. There's also links to portion control scoops. But there's also a link to the British Takeaway campaign, and the British Takeaway campaign Reduce the Takeaway Toolkit, which the NFFF has been involved in developing. So have a look at that, see if you get some information off that, just see what you can do. If you want any advice, get in touch with the NFFF, we're always there. As I say, one of the things that might come along is mandatory calorie information on menus. We're trying to avoid that. We have got a nutritional testing service which we can provide. To do a full menu is quite expensive, and it's not something that we really want everybody to have to do. So with the British Takeaway campaign, we're trying to get an online calorie counter. So that's the way we're working. So, and I think it's probably a sensible solution to it, because there's always going to be a little bit of variation in portions and in the calories. You're never going to get it exact each meal. So I think a calorie counter calculator is probably going to be a reasonable way to get information that's in the ballpark for each portion size, which I think is the only sensible thing that can be done. But we'll keep members up to date, and anything big we'll issue to the entire industry as well. But the real nuts and bolts of it will be reserved for members, because that's what we're here for. One of the things I've seen a lot online is palm oil. There's lots of talk about moving away from palm oil onto different oils. our advice and the advice from the WWF, they set up the RSPO, which is a round table for sustainable palm oil, which is a bit of a mouthful, is to stay on sustainable palm, but look for the RSPO logo. If everyone moves, the thing with palm, it's a high yielding crop, so if everyone moves onto different oils, we're going to end up with an issue where there's going to be a bigger area needed clearing just to produce the oil for every product, because palm is in a lot of products, and also it'll be an environmental and an economic disaster in palm oil areas such as Malaysia. So the advice is stay with it. It's sustainably grown. They're putting bridges across so wildlife can go from one area of forest to another, so that any damage that's been done in the past is they're trying to repair it as best they can, and there'll be no further damage to the forest. So I attended a seminar at the Palace of Westminster last year. I was there with Louise from Friars Pride, and it was very much an eye-opener, and it changed my views on it. And I think as an industry we've got a duty to get the right message across. If you want to change oil for another reason, that's fine, but if you're doing it just because your customers are saying, oh well, you shouldn't use that because of the orangutan, it's our duty to put the customers right, because if we don't, you end up with a tidal wave of all this misinformation that is going to do more damage to the environment. And if we know that that's the wrong thing to do, then we shouldn't do it, and we should be telling people why we're not doing it, rather than just going with the flow because it's going to be good for business. It's our duty, because we pride ourselves on being such a responsible industry, which we are, but with that becomes the responsibility of doing the right thing, even if it might be harder work. So just wait for advice. I know there's some things planned by Neoda and things planned by Friars Pride later on in the year, so just wait for that to happen. But as I say, if you want to speak to us about it, just get in touch with the NFFF or find me online. You'll post in the groups, and there's plenty of discussions on there about it anyway. The other thing that happened was the dogfish story. I don't know if anyone saw that. There was University of Exeter study that showed that the DNA testing on rock salmon sold in fish and chip shops, and it came up as an endangered species. I've done a little bit of media fight back on this. Craig Moore did a radio interview as well. I've spoken to a journalist this week about the story, and hopefully get the right message out. Again, he's coming from a different tack. We're such a responsible industry, as I've just said about palm oil. We do everything right. We do things for the right reasons. I'm not saying we always get it right, but we're doing it for the right reasons. This is a non-story, and it just leads the public to think that we're not as responsible as we are. All the dogfish that's sold, or the vast majority of dogfish that's sold in fish and chip shops, comes from the North American fishery, which is MSC certified. So there is no issue with sustainability with it. It's the same species, but from a different area. There's a little bit of bycatch that might be sold in fish and chip shops, but it's minimal. So really the story's not about us doing anything wrong, it's about us having the information there for the public about where it's from, which I think we support. We support as much labelling as possible, because we have nothing to hide. We're very open as an industry. We do, as I say, we're doing everything for the right reasons and trying to do the right thing. So why would we hide anything? So we'd certainly support species declaration with being mandatory, but we'd also encourage people to have information available about where the fish is caught, where it's brought in. One of the easiest ways to do that is become MSC certified, but if you don't want to do that, then there's other ways as well. But I just think getting that information out is very important. And I've had a word with one of the organisations we work with, not MSC, but another sustainability organisation, because some of their messaging may have been a little bit wrong, but we've sent a letter, and we've had a great response, and we look forward to making sure that we can work together and get the right results and get the right information out to the general public and to our industry as well. So as I said, with this story, we did put a little bit of post out to get everybody the information out, because it's important that every fish and chip shop that has a customer come in gets the message out. Just like palm oil, it's important the right message gets out. But for our members, we sent a special bulletin, which we'll be doing on every story, with more facts and figures and more ammunition. But as long as everybody's got a little bit to combat any consumers that come in, it helps the entire industry, and I think it's important that we do get some information out to everybody. Brexit's the other one that's obviously everyone's sick to death of it, and I'm sorry for bringing it up. We're still waiting to know. The 29th of March is looming ever closer. Nobody seems to know what's happening. as I say, the big danger is we're getting no deal. There's a potential that we might have an extra tariff put on fish, but as I say, nobody knows the answer. I think the best thing that we can have, whatever your views on remain or leave, is that something's decided and we start moving on, because at the moment everything's a stalemate. So again, as we get information, we'll feed that out to members and the wider industry as well. So just keep an eye online and on our website we'll get some information out. The NFFF membership, well, the NFFF's been under a period of change probably the last 8 years. There's been a lot of positive steps forward, and I think they're starting to pay off. We're much more active, we're much more relevant, we're involved in so many issues, we're more accessible so people can get in touch with us. And there's a few more initiatives in the pipeline. There's a lot of things that we want to introduce to improve the way we communicate with our members, and also initiatives that will help attract more people to becoming part of the club, because at the end of the day we are a team. It's your organisation. Without members we're nothing, and we need you, we're representing you, but we need feedback from you of what you want us to focus on, what information you want us to bring back to you from meetings as well. As I say, the new website should help that, because we can put forms on there, so if we're having a board meeting we can post it at the board meeting and give members the opportunity to suggest topics in any other business, so we can cover some issues that might be important to you, and some of them might be regional as well. We're also planning a few new meetings and workshops in 2019. The North West has an active area council which meets every 2 months. Wales has also got an active meeting, which is great. There are a couple of presentations, I try and attend those. The North West one I chair, but the other one I try and attend as much as possible, and they have alternate meetings between South Wales and North Wales. And I think that is a good way. There used to be a lot more meetings in the country, but I think people have more pressure on the time. But if we have meetings every so often, like maybe once a year or twice a year in certain regions, it just gives people the opportunity to attend, learn a little bit, and interact with us and talk to us and get to meet us and raise issues that they're worried about, and see if we can do anything about it there and then, or if we can go away and try and do a campaign to try and put things right. We do have a lot more contacts now in the world of government and in the world of hospitality as well, so we are quite well connected. So the first one of these new meetings is going to be on the 1st of April, and it's not an April Fool's. It's just the best date that worked for everybody, and that's going to be at Peterhead Fish Market. And it's organised by Colin Cromer, our Scottish director. We've got Jimmy Buchan, who obviously famous from the BBC series Trawlermen. Jimmy's a great guy. He's going to take us around the market. At the moment we're due to start at 8 o'clock, but I'd register interest with us, because that might change. It depends on the market. By 8 o'clock all the dealing could be finished, and I think it might be useful to get there a little bit earlier. I'll be travelling up the day before, but keep an eye on social media. We'll be posting out about it. We'll give you a contact so you can register your interest, so we've got an idea of numbers as well. So we'll have the tour of the market, and then we'll have a meeting afterwards. I'll get an agenda together with Colin, and we're going to be working with Murray Watson as well from the Karen, who's expressed an interest in getting involved. So hopefully we'll get the meeting. It'll be a success, and we'll get plenty of people there. And I think Colin's plan is to have another meeting further south in Scotland as well, so that, because it's difficult to travel around, and I understand Peterhead's a long way up, but help us to represent you. So just get involved and attend. We're there to support you, and I think this is a good opportunity for you to hear your views and find out what the NFFF does as well. I'll be at the meeting, so I'm there to be shot at if you want. I'll say other events that are planned. We've just had the Edinburgh meeting organised by Colbex. We've got Exeter in a couple of weeks. That's on the 17th of March. There's another one in Bolton on the 14th of April. Other exhibitions coming up, and just attend them all. If it's in your area, it's one Sunday every year or 2 years in the case of Bolton, but just come along and meet people and have a look. You'll give you some ideas of different products, but you can also talk to equipment suppliers. You can come and see us, the Fisherman's Missions there. The next one I'm going to talk about is National Fish and Chip Day, which is run by Neoda. They're always attending, so register your interest there. And National Fish and Chip Day is something that costs you nothing. You don't have to do a promotion. I know people say, oh, I'm so busy on a Friday, I don't need to do it. It's about celebrating fish and chips. So you don't need to do anything. And I know coastal shops are busy in June, but celebrate fish and chips. You don't need to give anything away. Just put some bunting up, have a bit of fun, and just promote fish and chips, because those consumers go back home and they eat in some of the suburban shops. And then if those suburban shops don't do a good job, or they're struggling, people don't get used to eating fish and chips, and they might not have fish and chips when they go back to the coast. You know, we're all in this together. It's not all about what you're getting at that point. It's about raising the brand fish and chips, and they need commending. It's a great initiative. There's a lot of people give up the time for it, and it's going from strength to strength each year. So, as I said, you don't need to put a deal on, you don't need to put a promotion on. Just have a bit of fun with the day and just get involved. The awards, the process starts again soon. I've got a steering group in a couple of weeks where a lot of people from the industry get together, and that's where we try and have a look at what we've done in the last year's awards, see what we can tweak, see what we can improve. And we want more people getting involved. We want more people to enter. It's not a closed shop. You don't need a new shop. You don't need a new range. All you do is enter. Even if you're not successful, you get a free audit from your shop. You get feedback. You can see where you went wrong, try and improve. And it really is a great driver for standards. It's a great driver for morale with your team as well. I suggest starting with the quality award, because that'll give you a good idea of where your shop's at, because the quality award is just the best practice for running a fish and chip shop, which is what the awards inspection is based off. So I would suggest getting the quality award, because you're up to the standard for the inspection. But whatever you do, just enter and just see what comes of it. There's plenty of categories. Have a look on the website, speak to your suppliers, speak to us, find out what categories you're eligible to enter, and just enter them. It's you've nothing to lose and everything to gain. At the very least, it'll improve your business. And if you go on to win something or get to the final, it's a great event, and it costs you nothing. You don't need to spend a penny. So please have a look at them and get involved. As I say, I've already mentioned the Scottish meeting on the 1st of April, so I hope to see as many of you there. And that's at Peterhead Fish Market. KFA on a mission is taking place this month. So if you haven't booked anybody, have a look who's available, try and get somebody. It's a great way to get somebody in training in your shop. You can get a little bit of publicity, put an event on. The money's going to the Fisherman's Mission. You've got some of the top fries in the country. It's just a nice way to boost business and learn something new and have a bit of fun, because they're all great characters as well. And the last thing I'll mention is the NFFF Ball. Last year's ball took place in Manchester. This year we're moving it to the fantastic city of Newcastle. It's taking place on the 29th of September. We've got the AGM in the afternoon, and then the ball start around about, it's 6:30 for 7 o'clock usually. Be a fantastic event. Lots of people there. We had 220 there last year. We want more shops. I think the capacity is 350 this time. It's a lovely room. It's a round room. We can take more people. There's room for a great stage. The entertainment's not been named yet, but there'll be a lot more coming out. We've got a website where you can book tickets. So you can book tickets online. That's NFFF.com, or you can telephone the head office here in Leeds. I'll put the number and I'll put the links in the comments below or in the description. But it is a great event, and you can just socialise with other members. You know, meet other fish and chip shop owners. I remember Greg Howard saying to me that when he first attended a meeting, he thought, bloody hell, there's somebody else that's just like me. Because when you're working in your business, you think you're the only one. And just get out there to the wider industry. There's so many people like you, and they've all got the same sense of humour. They all know they've got the same pressures. They all know the industry inside out, and you learn a little bit. You make great friends, and it's just a great industry, and you get out of it what you put in. It's so open. There's everybody's so friendly. They'll all support you. I'm not saying the shop down the road might not be your best friend, but other shops will let you in and show you what they do, and vice versa. And it's just a great, warm, friendly industry. So my advice is just get out there and get involved. So thank you for listening to me. I might just take you on a little bit of a tour, because I'm here in the boardroom of the NFFF. So I know we've got a one-day training course going on, but I'll take you a little tour of downstairs. I'll not introduce you to any of the office staff today, so I'll save that treat for later on. But as I say, I'll take you around. So this is the Rogues Gallery. There you go. These are all the past presidents of the NFFF. So it goes all the way back to 1913. So there's plenty of characters there. You may know some of them. There we go. I'll take you through now. There we go, reception. I'll just go into this is the lecture room. There we go. I can hear the students, they're in the practical room, so I'll go in here first. Here's our frying room. So we've got traditional range. And there we go, basket frying. Just a little bit of a walk around. I'll try not to disturb them too much. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just taking on a guided tour around, so you might see this online in a bit. There's Jem and some of the students. And there we go, practical training.
We were taking on a shop that was doing 50 bags.
There we go.
Like, wow, this is really busy.
I'll get out of the way. So there you go. Thank you for listening to us, and I look forward to doing another one in a couple of months. Take care. See you in a bit.